A code red for humanity. Tonight we begin with the wake-up call from the United Nations on what they call the unequivocal impact humans are having on our planet. Their once-in-a-decade climate report is out today, and with it comes a warning about what could happen if humans do not aggressively change. It's the world's most expansive report yet into climate change, and there's no sugarcoating it. The UN report says at this point we are not able to stop global warming for at least 30 years. Essentially, a hotter future is already locked in, a future where extreme weather events like devastating fires, historic flooding, and extreme heat are all more common. The report's authors are essentially sending the world's leaders a final wake-up call: curb emissions and dramatically reduce consumption, or face a world that is fundamentally different. Around the world, fire crews are battling fires tonight on a nearly unprecedented scale. If seeing is believing, many are getting a first-hand look at a worst-case scenario for the future. But the report concludes there is still time to change. Our Maggie Rulli reports from Greece.
Code red for humanity. A dire warning tonight from the United Nations about our planet's future. Scenes more reminiscent of horror movies now playing out right before our eyes.
Very problem. My island is on fire.
This is Greece in 2021. Turkey, California, China, Germany. A brand new once-in-a-decade report from the UN is incredibly clear. We are altering our planet. The report detailing how climate change is making extreme weather worse in every region of the globe. Hotter heat waves, heavier rain, more extreme droughts, raging infernos.
You can hear the crackle of these flames. The fires are just ripping through the underbrush here. Look at that. We see it climbing up that tree. It is going all the way up the hillside. We have seen dozens of these hot spots popping up along the road. This is what firefighters are struggling to keep up with.
Here in Greece, the fire is turning the sky a bloodshot, ominous red, forcing residents out of the Greek island of Evia, making conditions all the more difficult for the crews desperately trying to help them to safety.
My heart cries, I leave my family behind.
The Greek wildfires have been raging for more than a week. Neighboring Turkey finally got most of their fires under control after nearly 2 weeks, killing at least 8. And it's all across our globe. Extreme weather of seemingly biblical proportions, now a painful new normal.
Firefighters had been working in this area just a few days ago, but they've already moved on to other areas now. You can see, obviously, the fire is starting again here.
There are at least 93 active wildfires burning in Siberia, over 2.8 million acres destroyed, some villages in the region evacuated. In America's West, record heat, drought, and strong winds feeding blazes like the Dixie Fire up in Northern California, now the largest singular fire in the state's history.
It's a leveled ghost town out here. The surrounding areas still threatened. The air difficult to breathe because of the multiple hazards. Officials say could be weeks before families are allowed to return.
The 8 largest fires in California have all occurred in the past 4 years. Unprecedented 116-degree heat in the Pacific Northwest and all-time record highs in Canada, causing hundreds of deaths earlier this summer. And if it's not record heat and fires, it's flooding. Yet again, Venice's iconic St. Mark's Square covered in water far earlier in the year than normal. These horrifying scenes from China, commuters trapped in chest-deep water in train cars, streets transformed into rivers after record rainfall in the center of the country.
How high was the water up to here?
That's right here.
I was in Germany just 3 weeks ago, the site of devastating floods after a once-in-1,000-year rainstorm killed at least 160 people.
There's so many people dead. You don't expect people to die in a flood in Germany.
Buildings in this medieval town, around since before the 15th century, were once thought to be able to stand the test of time, now potentially destroyed by one flood.
From floods that wipe out entire towns to fires that leave forests and homes burned, covered in ash, still smoldering. These extreme, once-in-a-lifetime, unprecedented events are now becoming common, and scientists all point to one thing: climate change.
It is indisputable that human activities are causing climate change and making extreme weather events more frequent and severe. Second, it shows that climate change is affecting every region on our planet.
The UN's report confirming in the strongest language ever that the world is warming at a rate unprecedented in the last 2,000 years. And the report says we, humans, are to blame. Our actions have us at the breaking point, even if we meet the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
The number 1.5 degrees Celsius, there was this, ideally from the Paris Agreement, we would try to keep warming below that level. That looks like a pretty big challenge at this point.
Some impacts of climate change are now irreversible. Our behavior has altered our oceans, changed our planet's glaciers. In Greenland, the amount of ice that melted in the space of one day in July could cover the entire state of Florida in 2 inches of water. And no matter what we do, the ice melt is going to continue and get worse.
Changes in ice sheets, deep ocean temperature, and acidification will continue for centuries to thousands of years, meaning that they are irreversible in our lifetime and will continue for generations to come.
The report concluding sea level rise may be one of the single biggest problems for the rest of the 21st century.
Even if you suddenly stop the increase in warming, you're going to still see melting for decades to come.
What's different about this report? Well, just how confident scientists are about the conclusions.
So this report was produced by over 200 scientists from 65 countries. They worked for 3 years together to assess huge amounts of scientific information, over 14,000 studies and research papers.
Data from the past 8 years has the scientific community more confident than ever before that humans are the cause of what's happening to our planet. But it doesn't have to be this way. While more warming is expected in the coming decades, it's not too late to change trends if humanity changes behaviors now.
We can't undo the mistakes of the past. This generation can make the systemic changes that will stop the planet warming, help everyone adapt to the new conditions, and create a world of peace, prosperity, and equity. Climate change is here now, but we are also here now. And if we don't act, who will?
A call to action tonight from the United Nations. Maggie Rulli joins us now from Greece. And Maggie, as we saw in your piece, you've been in 2 disaster zones just in the past few weeks there in Greece and, of course, the flooding in Germany. These extreme weather events taking such an emotional toll on these communities. How are people that you're talking to responding to it all?
Yeah, Lindsay, emotional is the perfect word to describe it. No matter where we are, we always hear the same thing. People tell us they're exhausted, they're angry, and they're scared. Here in Greece, people are tired. They're exhausted. The fires here on this island alone have been going on for more than 7 days. We're talking about these extreme, once-in-a-lifetime events that, Lindsay, now seem to be happening at least once a summer, and they're lasting for longer than ever. I mean, you talk about just the toll that takes on someone, because all of this is so personal. And we heard from that one young man who said, my island is on fire. These fires are burning through people's homes. These ferries and boats behind me, they are all on standby, waiting if someone needs to be evacuated from their home tonight. That takes a toll. We were in Germany. I'll never forget standing in front of this makeshift garbage pile. It was the size of a football field, 2 stories high, and it was filled with people's ruined belongings, everything that they cherish. This is personal, and people just get exhausted of it. And then soon they become angry. So many people always tell us they're angry their governments haven't done more. They should have known this was coming. We've been talking about climate change. We get natural disasters. Why weren't they prepared? And they're demanding that governments step in and do more, because this is going to keep happening. And that's why people are scared. They're scared for the future. We just saw that UN climate report saying these types of natural disasters are happening, and they're going to happen more often. That medieval town in Germany with houses that have been around before the 15th century. One man told us he can't believe his house, it might be ruined. How is he ever going to come back? Are those people going to rebuild if there's going to get more floods? People here in Greece with Athens experiencing temperatures 113 degrees. I mean, how long is that livable for? Are people going to be able to live in these cities and these countries any longer? You know, Lindsay, I think we all know this was coming, but many people thought it was going to be centuries or at least decades in the future. But for places like Germany, for places like Greece, for places in America, all of this is happening right now, Lindsay.
Right. The urgency, I think, has been lost on so many of us. But, of course, the fear and frustration, understandable. Maggie, thank you so much for your reporting.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.